quick explanation of where I've been. Work stuff in my work life has gotten super busy lately, and it's just gonna get busier as I move into July. So, yeah, that's why I haven't been making videos lately, and that's also probably gonna be why I'm not hopeful about participating in Camp NaNoWriMo. I want to, I really do, but at the same time, I'm willing to admit that's probably not going to be within my scope of tasks that I can do. But I do have time to make a video now, so I'm just gonna jump right into it. I want to talk about how I go about making villains. So this isn't a rule book or anything, or something I found online. I mean, I'm sure someone has probably thought up with these tactics before, but this is just something I'm experimenting with and how I'm going to go about creating a villain. So one of the things I think is important with creating a villain is the villain has to be relatable in some sort of way. I have to understand why the villain is doing what they're doing and how they got to this point in their life. Your villain could have some deep emotional issues with pie and they fear pie, so they want to rid the world of pie. But, some people like pie.
It is so good that when I'm finished with it, I'll pay my check, walk straight into the kitchen, and shoot the cook. Because that's what I do. I restore the balance to this country.
I don't think pie is that big of a deal. It's good sometimes. I don't know why I'm talking about my personal preference for pie. But anyways, if you have the I guess I get it mentality, not I totally understand you, I think a villain becomes a little bit more real when you can see a piece of yourself in them. Most villains do not view themselves as evil. Most of the time, the villain's motives will be driven by an ideology they believe to be beneficial to the world, galaxy, or whatever environment they're living in. However, some villains are just all about their own self-interest, and others are total nihilist. Either way, every character has a goal, at least in my mind. They all have to have a goal. I have 3 general personality categories that I like to use for my villains. And there could be more, but these are sort of like the 3 big ones for me. So I have the nihilist, the selfish one, and then the idealist. And then there are 4 other categories of what kind of game the villain is playing. So the first category is the end game chaser. And then the second one is the game changers. And then I have the game owners and the game breakers. So let's get into the people who run the game. So this will pretty much be like 1984 Big Brother or the Hunger Games. They have the power and they control all the players on the board. They're probably not even playing the game at this point because they're so powerful. They're like the DMs of the game, if you will. So a game owner would be like President Snow. He really can't do anything on his own individually, but with a following, he's able to get things done. So he has people who create the Hunger Games for him. He has, the whole entire people of the Capitol to protect him and all of these things. And really, he sort of runs the whole entire country of Panem in his favor with the propaganda that he puts out and all of that. The only thing he's ever really done directly is pretty much ironically, the dirty work of getting rid of people who fail him. He sort of is one of those people who needs an ideology in order to continue ruling over Panem. And I think Katniss is a game breaker. She needs a following as well because she can't do it on her own, and neither can President Snow. Both of these characters need a following to complete their goal. These two were trying to complete their goal using the same type of tactics. Next, we have the in-game chaser, and I've chosen Sweeney Todd as an example of this. So Sweeney Todd is the main character of his story, and some would argue the hero, but despite his foe being a corrupt judge, it doesn't negate the fact that Sweeney Todd killed a lot of people, nor does it justify the fact that he brought the culinary art of cannibalism to industrial London, or at least helped with that. I would conclude Sweeney is a character out for his own self-interest. He's not out to prove something to the world or change it. His actions only really hold meaning for himself and his victim. I think you can see this, that he doesn't care about any other interaction with other people. Like, when he's talking to Mrs. Lovett, he's very disconnected from everyone else, and you just see him just so focused on this one person. So after Sweeney Todd completes his goal of killing Judge Turpin, I don't think he really sees a future past that. So what makes Sweeney Todd different from the Joker? Well, number one, Sweeney Todd does feel guilt. You can't deny that he feels guilty for killing his wife in the end. The Joker wants to throw society into chaos, and we've been told all of his different stories about his past, so we have no idea where he gets this urge to just break everything. So to wrap up the Joker, he's basically a nihilist who wants to break the game. I think that the way he's different from Sweeney Todd is Sweeney Todd doesn't really see a future after he completes his goal, whereas the Joker, I think he looks forward to the future, and he really wants to see what the world will be like if everyone had the same outlook as he did, which is total insanity and chaos. So, let's move on to the game changers. So a good example of a game changer would be Voldemort, and I also think Voldemort has an ideology. He wants it to be so there's only wizards, pureblood wizards, and he's gotten a following from other pureblood wizards. So why would he resolve that a better wizarding world would be one where only pureblood wizards exist? Well, this would mean that no other kid would have to live through the experience that Voldemort had, as Tom Riddle, or even as Harry had. They would live in a world that accepted them entirely because they were purebloods to begin with, and there wouldn't ever be anyone who was born in that situation where they had to find a place that accepted them instead of being born into a world where everyone just automatically accepts you because you're the norm. And I think that is something people could empathize with, is that the desire to not be an outsider. And I think a lot of people want that. The thing that makes this bad for Voldemort is where does this leave the Muggles or the Mudbloods? This is where you start to find the cracks in his ideology, and this sort of dream world of pureblood wizards is that these tiny issues that will pop up for Voldemort if he gets his way have extreme solutions. So here are some questions to simplify my whole entire too long, don't listen, just skip to this point. I'm going to put this, I don't know what I'm doing. Anyways, too long, don't listen. Here's how to simplify what I do when I create myself a villain to be in the story with the people and the fighting in the game and Monopoly and everything that just happened. Do you understand? Are you following? No? Okay, fine. Okay, so, questions. Is the character only focused on their own self-interest? Is the character chaotic in nature? Does the character have an ideology? Does the character gain a following easily? Does the character care that they have a following? What is the character's ultimate goal? So if this question sounds familiar, it's because you heard it with all the snowflake templates that I did somewhere around April. In that time frame. It's so long ago, man. Anyways, but here's how I switch it up. Because none of your villains really see themselves as evil, try to really sell this idea like, yeah, this is a great idea. It's super good. You should try it sometime. It's like putting Windex in your eyes instead of eye drops. I think it would end well. Do you not? Why not? Have you ever tried it? No? Because you thought it was a bad idea? Well, that just means you're not willing to go out for some innovation, sir. I beg to differ with your concept of safety of the eyes. Sorry for the hiatus. Here's my dog. It's gonna be the same thing every time. She's adorable. So bye.